Hello everyone and welcome to Project Insights Product Training Webinar. The topic for today is Project Insights Agile Features. So just a few things to note before we get started. All participants will be on mute. However, any questions you have are more than welcome. Please type them into the questions box, which you can find on your GoToWebinar panel. Also note that this webinar recording will also be available within the Project Insight community. My name is Alexa, and I'll be your moderator for today. I'm currently the marketing assistant here at Project Insight, and if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to reach me at alexa.ortega-mendoza@projectinsight.com. And our presenter for today will be Margaret Campbell. She's our customer success manager here at Project Insight. So some of the benefits of today's webinar will be to work according to your preferred methodology, report based on unified criteria, and also sprints, backlogs, and resources assigned are available in one click. So our agenda today will go over how to add sprints rapidly using sets of tasks from templates, how to assign work to iterations, how to move tasks to the backlog with one click, and also how to drag and drop tasks and issues to prioritize work. So before we get started, we're going to go ahead and take a quick poll of how you're currently managing your projects. So go ahead and choose Excel, MS Project. If you're using a low-end tool, go ahead and select that. If you're using sticky notes, whiteboards, napkins, or anything else, go ahead and let us know. Or if you're using anything else to manage your projects, go ahead and type it into the questions box. So it looks like 25% of you are using Excel, 50% are using MS Project, 6% are using a low-end tool, and 19% of you are using other, and I see that some of you are using Project Insight, so welcome to our Project Insight users. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Margaret, our presenter for today. Hey, Margaret.
Well, hello. All right, so thank you very much, Alexa. I'm gonna take us into Project Insight here and show you what the Agile features look like. First things first, it's an introduction to the Get Apps and Add-ons section and the Your Apps and Add-ons section of the administration, because Agile is a add-on feature. It's not native with Project Insight unless you turn it on. So that was when we first enabled this back in its beta version, that was the #1 set of feedback was, hey, if I don't use Agile projects, can I turn this off? And so the answer is, yeah, you can turn it off by never enabling it. So let's go to the Get Apps and Add-ons section here. And when you click Get Apps and Add-ons, you'll see all the potential things in here. We've got some integrations with Jira, Salesforce, Visual Studio Team Services, Zendesk, a whole bunch of other stuff. But Agile starts with an A, so it's at the top of the list. Woo, we don't have to go looking for things. How you enable an app or an add-on is click the gray bar to expand it, and then hit Install. That's it. Don't have to watch a scrolling gray bar or anything. It just installs it right away. Hit OK. And then if you go to the Your Apps and Add-ons, you'll see these are all the apps you've ever enabled. I've enabled quite a bit because I'm playing around with stuff in my site. But if you've only enabled Agile and Scrum, then that'll be the only thing you see on this list. All right. So then, of course, our next question is, what does that do? Where am I going to see these features show up? So I'm going to go to my Agile folder that I've created, and let's add a project just to show you the new Agile features. So this page looks exactly the same as you've seen before. You give it a name, you can copy it from a template. This is what we were talking about in the bullet point list, that adding tasks from a template is super easy if you happen to use the same process over and over again. And then you'll see the Agile tab. This allows you to enable features for whichever project is going to use the Agile methodology. So Project Insight's #1 goal is to remain as methodology agnostic as possible so that people who want to work in Agile projects can get the features they need, and the people who want to work in the traditional Waterfall projects can get the features they need. And then y'all work in Project Insight, and it all comes out beautifully when leadership wants to look at reports. All right, so the only thing we need to think about is, yes, it's an Agile project, and how many days are your typical sprints? So if you see the word iteration in Project Insight, technically that's a fancy term for sprint. So mine tend to be 14 days. If you leave this blank, then you'll just have to put in the end date as to when your sprints start and end. So that's it. That's the only thing you have to think about. All right, so let's hop into this working on my agility project. Aren't we all? And you'll notice that the task list columns, I've shortened mine quite a bit. I only have the name, how many work hours, what's the work status, and who are my resources. You, just like all projects in Project Insight, you can use your display options up here to make changes and add as many columns as you think will help you run your Agile project. But the beauty of the Agile features is most of project planning and project scheduling isn't done in the task list. So I'll go into that in just a little bit. But let's look at what we're already familiar with super quickly. For example, you're going to want to decide how many work hours each of these tasks are going to take. That's really important for resource allocation, but it's also important for just level of effort in general. That way, when Jill goes to look at this design sign-off, how long should this take her? It should take her about 4 hours. All right, we all agree on that? Yes, we all agree on that. All right, so just like in Project Insight, you can edit resources the way you're used to, you know, give it to Joe, let's say, and hit save, and yeah, he might be over allocated. Override that. But if you want to, you know, move beyond the features that you're already familiar with, let's take a look at the views that have been enabled. Okay, so for Agile projects, you have the opportunity to add sprints, look at your backlog, take a look at the status board. These are the kind of things that are the, you know, moving quickly at the speed of business type of features. So I'm going to take us into sprints first. I've built 3 sprints. If you're the type of team that kind of builds sprints as you go, or maybe you build the next 2 sprints out as you go, you can build it that way, or you can build all the way through sprint 4 if you want. 5, 6, 7, however many you think you're going to need to get this project done. You'll select the next date in the list, which after October 8th will be the 9th, and hit save. It'll calculate based on those 14 days I showed you earlier, and now you've got a 2-week sprint. The sprint page will also tell you what's active. So right now I'm on sprint 1. I'm still in the middle of this sprint here. And if you want to see the details of sprint 1, you can click on the hyperlink that'll take you to any tasks that have been assigned to this, any issues that have been assigned to this. Right now I've got none because I haven't set any up yet. So let's go ahead and set those up. Now that I've got some sprints made, now that I know what the dates are for those sprints, I can go to the backlog board. All right, so everything right now is on the backlog. I haven't assigned any, I haven't scheduled any of these tasks to get done. So certain things that I can think can get done here. Let's see, I think we can get this done. I think we can get design done. See how I'm doing all of this and just drag and drop one click? That's the idea, that we want to be able to move fairly quickly with Agile and you know, make sure that we're moving at the speed of business. So here's what I think we can get done over these next 2 weeks. I can communicate this with my team in a big meeting that we have to build this out, or I can just assign the work that needs to be assigned. All right, so I was already on a task. This Joe buddy of mine was already on a task. This develop design doesn't have any resources yet. So I could go back to the task list and I could type the person's name in just like you saw me do a couple of minutes ago, or I can go to the resource assignment board. So it's under resources, assignment board. That's how you get to the resource assignment board. And in the same exact way that you drag and drop these tasks, you can also drag and drop these tasks to whom should be the person responsible for getting the work done. So I know Margaret is one heck of a designer. I know Nick is one good merge and extend data plan model. Maybe Michelle is always my QA person. And I could do this in any order. I didn't need to do the scheduling first and then the resourcing first. I could do any order. Okay, so now everybody's got a little something to do. If I go back to the backlog board, I'll now see people's pictures next to who's doing the work. And all of this is designed to make it as visual as possible, as one-click friendly as possible. And again, Agile is all about moving super quickly and making sure that we're communicating effectively to get us all started. So let's say I'm ready to get going on the first sprint. Here I am with the assignments taken care of and with the first let's see here, sprints, a couple of things left on the backlog, that's all right. And then the assignments were taken care of. So let's go to the status board. Let's say that we've gotten some work started. People are working, moving and shaking. I want to see where everybody is graphically. Oh, good. Report sign off has been started. Merge and extend data plan has been started. That's always good. Maybe, oh, here I am. I've already started the design plan. I've gotten that going. I'm doing okay. Oh, wait a minute. I did get the reporting sign off taken care of. That's finished. I'm able to drag and drop these things to move them into their work status as quickly and easily as possible. So that's how you saw me update the individual tasks that I'm working on. And then as the project manager, I can go in here and see all of this. Graphically like this, or I could go into my task list because I love using Project Insight. Maybe I want to add a % complete checkbox and see it that way. Oh, good. Margaret finished the reporting side off. That's been checked off as completed. So that's a little bit of how the boards interact with the task list. If you're used to looking at things in the task list view, which many of us who use Project Insight are, you can still see all the columns you know and love. And you can even see the columns and features you know and love that might not be Agile related. So I do have a couple of our teams that use the Agile features, and yet leadership wants a Gantt chart. It's like, well, wait a minute, that's not Agile at all. I know, but leadership wants to see it in a Gantt chart. Okay, well, Project Insight can do that. All right, so that's a little bit about what this looks like while you're getting work done. So like a typical Project Insight plan, if I'm going to my dashboard, let's say, here I'll duplicate this tag and go to my dashboard. I'm a team member, let's say, and I want to see how everything's working here with the what am I supposed to work on today? Working on my agility shows up on my list just like every other task that I have to get done. And just like every other task, I can update it all in one place from the status layer to let me know, hey, I'm started, I'm in progress, I'm almost done, etc. The cool difference is with all these Agile features that allow me to drag and drop, I can stay up to date with the schedule via the way that sprints work, rather than, oh, okay, well, let me change the date on this. I'll now get it done by Friday or whatever. Okay. So I've made some progress on some of the tasks. And let's say that my 2 weeks are over and I want to say, okay, I'm done with this current sprint. So the week of 9 or the day of 9/10, September 10th, maybe we want to get together and close sprint 1 and open sprint 2. How this will work is you'll hit the state button and you'll hit close and you'll get a warning message because Project Insight loves warning messages. It says confirm close of sprint 1. Are you sure you want to close sprint 1? Because once it's closed, it cannot be opened. All items in the sprint will be recorded in their current state. In the closed sprint for future viewing, and unfinished work will be moved to the next sprint. So let's hit yes and say that I do want to close this. If I click into sprint 1, it'll tell me where everything was at the point that I closed it. So I hadn't even started, or Joe hadn't even started to develop design, but Margaret had finished the reporting sign off like you saw. All right. Let's go to my sprint board and see how things moved around on me here. So let's go to the backlog, and we should see design, develop, and design, develop, design in sprint 2. Doesn't look like it. Let's say it was there. Because what that's supposed to do is move it over to the next place, or just let me, assign out the next bits of, I think we're going to get this done in sprint 2, and I think we're going to get that done in sprint 2. But either way, you'll have the ability to kind of see where everything should be now that I've closed out sprint 1. All right, so let's go back to the task list here. And it looks like we have some questions. Okay, so question number 1, are the days in the business, are the iteration days business days or calendar days? So that's a great question. Let's go to the edit project Agile page here. These are calendar days. Let's see if it says that. There we go. The number of days in the iteration span, this number should include weekends. Really, it should just say this is in calendar days, not work days. But that is 14 is the number of calendar days. It's 2 weeks. Great question about the date. The cards that I'm showing here is, can we show more information than what you see here? If I go to the page display options, we can narrow down, like show me the ones that are done, or show me the ones that are started, in progress, almost done. We can narrow down the issue types because issues will show up on the backlog as well as tasks. And we can show the closed sprints. But in terms of getting more information on these cards that you see here, not really. You can click on the card, this hyperlink, to get any comments that have been made. So this might be what you're talking about in terms of getting more information. You can see, hey, it's scheduled to be done this day. It's scheduled to take 25 hours, that kind of a thing. But then you can click into the task too to see the task detail, which we know and love, right? Being able to add comments and see the details here. Okay, let's go back to my backlog. Okay, now we've got some great questions about seeing across multiple projects. Right now, there is the concept of the task status board for the individual. Like, I want to see all of my tasks across all projects. That's under My Insight. In terms of seeing the whole portfolio this way, I don't think that that's been made yet. I know that it's on the roadmap to be able to see across projects. So like, this is my set of things that have been assigned to me. And again, I got there through the My Insight task status board. So that's a concept of, but in terms of, hey, this is what the PMO is working on, or this is what IT is working on right now, that would still be your traditional issue report. Okay. Ooh, this is another really good question. Can statuses be specific to a project or a kind of project? And no, the work statuses are across all projects. In the started, in progress, almost done. These are the native options. You can add more or you can add fewer depending on how much you would like, what the kind of detail you'd like people to present. I know teams that go from not started to done because their tasks move so quickly that they don't really have a need to do the in-between percentages. But if you've got tasks that last more than a couple days, you'll probably want more along the lines of 5 statuses or so that people can tell you, hey, yesterday I moved it from not started to started. Wednesday I'll move it from from started to in progress. That kind of a situation. But no, they don't change, and that's by design because this is how we run our percent complete calculations. Okay, let's go back to the My Agile. Here we go. Okay, can you have more than one sprint active at a time? I know in the past we allowed teams to do that, but I haven't played with that yet to see. No, you can only have one sprint active at a time. So in terms of per project. So I'm on sprint 2 for this project. I could be on sprint 25 for a different project. They just happen to fall in the same set of weeks, 9/11 to 9/24. Or whatever. I have seen teams call this release 1.0, release 1.2, and release 2.3, depending on their release schedules. Or you could do it the way I've done it here, which is just sprints 1 through N to the end of the project. But in terms of how many sprints you can be working on at one time, only one can be active, and then you'll close all the ones that were previous. All right, we have another question coming in about, are there Agile specific reports possible? So like statuses on the sprints over all projects or other things like that. And the answer is not right now. So this is Agile version 1.0, I suppose, where this is what allows you to get Agile moving in Project Insight, assigning work the way that Agile assigns work, scheduling tasks the way that Agile assigns tasks. And then, of course, the logical conclusion after that would be, well, we got to have some reports on show me how everything is on the current sprint or things like that. That isn't currently up and running in Project Insight, but it is on the roadmap to be a part of the Agile features eventually. So in terms of reporting, right now, the most important thing we've got is to be able to run your typical Project Insight reports and have the Agile projects fit into that. So for example, if I need to do my resource allocation, I can still use the typical resource allocation report and know that people are overburdened and things like that. And working on my agility fits in just fine. For the week of September 10th, it looks like I've got a lot of work to do because I'm working on this task, as well as all the other work I have to get done. So same sort of business process questions you're going to have to ask yourselves as a team is, okay, what's the priority? How do we move things around? How do we give this to somebody else in order to, unburden poor Margaret? Feel really bad for her, don't you? All of those things are still going to be in place to make sure that all the, you get visibility across all the projects regardless of methodology. All right. right, so we are coming up against our half hour here, and those are the questions I have in the question box. Does anybody else have any last minute questions before I toss it back over to Alexa? All right, I know I got quite a few of you on the webinar here, so go ahead and give me back some feedback if you liked it, if I did a good job. If you didn't like it, I will take that too. I understand. I gotta get the good with the bad. But Alexa, go ahead and take it away from here.
Cool. Thank you, Margaret. So I have just a few more slides for you before we end the session. For those of you on social media, I'd like to invite you to follow, like, and subscribe to our social media channels. Our handle on Twitter is @ProjectInsight, and of course, you can also find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for the latest in PI news. And we'd also like to invite you to sign up or refer a friend to try our latest project management platform called PI Team. PI Team is our free social project management software that allows project managers to easily and efficiently manage projects. And PI Team keeps teams connected through apps like Slack and uses a virtual character called a virtual PM to engage users. So thanks to PI Team, keeping your team on track has never been easier or more engaging. You can go ahead and sign up for free at projectinsight.net/team. And for more information on everything PI offers, feel free to contact us via phone, email, or request your free demo today at projectinsight.net. And lastly, in our Project Insight community, you'll find many recorded videos and webinars for you to watch and learn from. You can sign up for your next product training or check out the rest of our webinars by visiting our PI calendar to register for as many as you'd like. And that's all we have for you today. We'd like to thank Margaret for a great session and of course thank our audience for your time as usual. We hope to have you on board for our next webinar. Thanks everyone. Have a great day.